Alright everyone, we lead off today talking about how even Angela Merkel is uncomfortable with Twitter having banned the President of the United States, but if you look, link in the description archived of course, she's not concerned about censorship, she's only concerned about who's actually doing the censoring. You see, there's a difference in Europe, mainly it's governments that censor you. In the United States, the corporations do that. The government generally lacks the power to directly censor anyone. First and foremost, though, there are 4 links in a pinned comment on YouTube and cross-platform in the description to sites better than YouTube that I use for my videos, that don't censor their users, that don't randomly kick people off for having political opinions that billionaires differ from. So you should join me on one or more of them, and also I do make exclusive video content on BitChute. Anyway, I thought this was funny. Because if you just read the title, as 90% of people tend to do, you'd think, oh, Angela Merkel is mad at Twitter right now. She's pro-free speech. That's not the case. She's just concerned that U.S. corporations are the ones doing it and the government hasn't directly impeded people from certain political speech. She labels it incitement. What Trump said in no legal framework would be considered incitement. If he, on January 20th, walks out of the White House and a prosecutorial power were to attempt to imprison him or charge him with incitement, they would be laughed at by the judge and the case dropped almost instantly. Not a single thing that he said, in video form or in text form on Twitter or anywhere else, incites. We also have pretty good evidence from the tech firms themselves. Twitter, in its own presser about why they banned Donald Trump and prevent him from accessing the POTUS account, which is blatantly illegal, by the way. They say it's because of the way that people interpreted what he said, not because of what he said itself. It's a very, very interesting workaround. Twitter dragged its heels more than like Zuckerberg's people. Facebook did the same thing. Right now, they're headhunting after basically anyone that has unorthodox beliefs. Look at Ron Paul. He got stripped of the ability to manage his own Facebook page for mysterious reasons. Very interesting, because Ron Paul's a Trump-averse libertarian. But Angela Merkel is definitely no agent of free speech. She hates it. She's an authoritarian. It's just she has a different form in mind. Now, here's what I would say. There's very little chance of Angela Merkel's style of anti-free speech pogrom being adopted in the United States. The United States, really, at the end of the day, is basically the only country where the government itself lacks the legal authority to impede people from their lawful speech. The government cannot arbitrarily define what you've said as incitement unless it can do so to the satisfaction of a legal body. You can be jailed for inciting violence, but the government doesn't get to deliver the direct framework upon which incitement would be deemed to be a thing in a unilateral fashion. They can't establish a bureau that says, okay, well today, if you tell people that you're going to wear red, this is incitement to violence. There has to be some meaningfulness behind it. In Europe, that's not the case. In Europe, there is no such thing as free speech as it is generally thought of in the United States, as being the absence of government regulating speech that doesn't create a victim in some way. Defamation, again, incitement, terroristic threats or something. In the United States, we have a different problem, which is that the government, being precluded from really headhunting after people for lawful political opinions, simply turns to their long-term business partners. Right now, there are banks that are saying that they're going to refuse to do business with a number of U.S. congresspeople based on the fact that they voted against certifying the electors. The fact is that that's goddamn ridiculous. It's also completely authoritarian, totally unethical, and any red-blooded American that supports it is goddamn insane. If you look throughout history, by the way, this is the sort of thing that happens in times leading to even darker times. This is like Weimar stuff. What was happening then? Government and corporate interests did get together to try to suppress people. How did that work out? It didn't work out very well. There was a considerable backlash and many people died. Well, it's not that it can't happen today. I condemn Twitter for banning Trump, but I don't want the government to be able to ban people for lawful political speech either. For them to arbitrarily redefine things and say, well, this is likely to incite people according to our arbitrary definition, that doesn't make any sense. Be objective. When the law is objective and cut and dry, it can be a good thing. Unfortunately, what we see is decreasingly that's the case. It's just like with TOS on some of these sites. It's not even so much the rules. There's differential enforcement. Leftists on Twitter have routinely called for people to be hanged. Hang the landlords, bring out the guillotines. They post riot footage and cheer it on. They say, bash the fash, punch a cop, and stuff like that. They never get in trouble for this. Certainly not ban. I know. I've had people launch death threats at me. Well, they're not getting in trouble. They're all still there. By the way, at the moment, you can tell how cool a person is by how many Twitter followers they've gained or lost. If they're a bootlicker, like Jared Holt is happy because for the first time in his meaningless life, he's got more Twitter followers than me because he shot up. The funny part being that it comes at the expense of Twitter being a vibrant platform at all. All the people he bitches about for a living, they're not on the platform now, so what's he going to do? It's going to stop being fun and entertaining at some point to these people, by the way. It's going to devolve into a complete echo chamber. Meanwhile, I've lost like 6,000 followers or something. That's because I'm cool. And then you get into the, whoa boy, you got to slow down with the coolness mode, which is where you get banned outright. By the way, if you still got a Twitter account, you should probably just delete it. Most of you only use it for shitposting. The only reason I have it there is because I get news tips and it's a placeholder so nobody can impersonate me. I'm not going to be doing anything else on Twitter. It's sort of why I still have a Facebook page. I can't have the Facebook group and be admin of it without having an actual account. But I don't use it and I can't even remember the last time I logged into it. You should do that too. You should delete your Facebook. By the way, another thing. Like people are saying, oh, the Parler went down and stuff. Because looking at like my own, as a video creator primarily, and a lot of people are, looking at my own analytics on other platforms in the wake of abandoning Twitter, I don't really see a difference. If anything, things have picked up a bit and it's cut a significant time waster out of my life. I'm not sure that, other than as a notification machine via Gab or something, there's really no purpose to these kinds of platforms. It's the odd man out now, isn't it? Social media, you're messaging people and their friends and family and stuff, get-togethers and shit, organizing things, decreasingly on Facebook because it's so censored. With video, it's definitely a massive boon, as far as news content or anything informative. Twitter doesn't give you either of those functions. It's just a death spiraling echo chamber on one hand and a shitfest on the other. Now, I like a good dumpster fire, but I'm not willing to make Jack Dorsey more money just so that I control some liberals. I'm just not willing to do that. And when most of the interesting pages there, they've either gone dormant, they've been deleted, they've deleted their own accounts, or they're beginning to migrate much of their time usage to other platforms, the hell is the point of fucking goddamn Twitter? Trump is probably, he's rolling his eyes right now. He's like, oh yeah, they banned me and Jack Dorsey lost $5 billion. He lost 2 Trumps of net worth, I think, over the course of a 72-hour period. Angela Merkel, though, make no mistake, is no friend of free speech. In fact, I'd say the people that want the government to regulate it are arguably worse because you get a deliberate fusion of corporate and government power with the state as a central entity on top. At least in the sense of corporations, you have some attempt at competition. We're seeing that anti-competitive practices aren't being properly punished. For instance, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft, and all the others, Google, getting together at the same time to screw Parler. Which is, again, is illegal under existing antitrust laws in the U.S. Leftists don't appear to understand this. We see that, but there's an attempt. Gab's still there. It's slow right now because they still need more servers. BitChute's still there. Hilariously not even based in the United States. They've just, by the way, they've changed their bronze awards now. Now you get a little medallion instead in a little case instead of the plaque design like I have. I'm going to ask Ray if I can get one of those too. It's like, well, I've hit 10,000 subscribers like, 12 times. So, do me a solid here. Anyway, I oppose Merkel's suggestion as much as I oppose the idea that U.S. corporations should be breathing down people's necks and engaging in trust activity. No, they shouldn't. And I think it's funny to watch the leftists bootlick the billionaires. It's hilarious. They're like cheering on McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Bank of America and shit like that right now. They love it. They love it. It's sort of like what Kaczynski said about liberals. They enjoy it because it's kind of getting off on it. It's sort of a use of force by proxy. Well, I'm on the side that's whipping you in the ass. Ha, I'm winning. Well, you're not participating. You're a little pathetic fucking coward. You're licking the boot. Most of these people, I imagine a lot of these people were the kid in school where they wanted to be a bully but they couldn't, so they would stand behind the bully and cheer him on and laugh at their shitty jokes and deal with the abuse. As long as the bully was abusing other people and they'd like take glee in it. Like the hall monitor class in school. The people that are universally hated and condemned and the bully looks down on them, but, you know, leaves them alone because at least once in a while they tell a good joke like the little lemming court jester they fucking are. That's about all. Peace out.